Our next presenter is Pete Sparacio. He is the head of global quality and regulatory affairs at Ametek Rauland, located in Chicago, Illinois. Pete earned his BS at Northern Illinois University and an MBA at Keller Graduate School of Management. He is an ASQ certified Six Sigma Black Belt and a certified quality auditor. He is a recognized senior global quality and regulatory affairs leader. Pete has worked for Baxter, Unilever, Philips Electronics, Emerson, Plexus Corporation, Hollister, and Danaher Medical, Vyaire Medical, and now Ametek. His products that he's worked with include class 1, 2, and 3 medical devices, ranging from sterile inhalation therapy, surgical instruments, brain and heart implants, catheters, critical care, cancer diagnostics, respiratory therapy, and healthcare communication systems. In pharmaceuticals, he has dealt with manufactured antibiotics and chemotherapy drugs, and has been involved with electronics, with lighting and power systems. That said, Pete, are you ready?
Yes, thank you, Mike.
And turn the time over to you, Pete. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. And thank you to everybody for your time and attention today. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be part of the conference today. And my apologies for some technical issues we faced a little bit earlier, but my team member here, Bridget, helped me out, so I appreciate that. I had a chance and the pleasure to meet Mike late last year when he was doing some training for us in ISO 14971 and 62304, IEC 62304. And I'm gonna take you through some background, not only about Ametek, our parent company, but also Rauland, the division that I'm currently responsible for. And I'll take you through how we applied some of the basics of IEC 62304 and where we are currently in terms of maturity relative to the standard. So I passed the first slide. Thanks for the introduction, Mike. And I wanted to introduce you to our parent company, first of all, with Ametek. And some of you may know the company. It's based on the East Coast. And we currently have about 22,000 employees. Our sales are a little over $6 billion based on 2022 sales, an operating income of about $1.5 billion. We're made up of more than 150 operating locations around the world, a global presence, several countries, and we're publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange with the acronym AME. A key strength of Ametek is its inorganic growth. And as I get into the presentation, I'll talk a little bit about that being one of the key growth strategies for Ametek. And you can see there they've had a lot of activity since late 1990. Well, actually 1999. They've had over 85 acquisitions, and it continues. In fact, we're in the hunt for some companies ourselves right now. So it's a key strategic directive from Ametek. It's a very decentralized structure. They allowed each of the business to grow and prosper under their own brands. There's two groups under Ametek. One is electronic instruments and the other is electromagnetic. We're currently part of the electronics instruments group. So when we look at Ametek's growth model, you can see a circular picture here. I won't get into all the details, but you can see the keys: operational excellence, inorganic growth, acquisitions, et cetera. And you can see how it flows, throughout the diagram there. And it's all centered by having great people, right? Talent development. And this is a model that's used throughout the world. And you're all familiar with the statements there: operational excellence, new product development, expansion, cash flow, capital deployment, and as I said a little bit earlier, they're very active when it comes to acquisitions. So little history of Rauland. And frankly, I've lived in Chicago my whole life, and I had never heard of the company before. And it was started by a gentleman by the name of E. Norman Rauland back in 1922, where he started to have some presence, in Chicago. And then he and a gentleman by the name of George Borg actually started the company in 1948. They acquired a number of different companies. They started to make make some advances in key areas, including healthcare and schools, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And in February 2017, we were acquired by Ametek. So it was a private company for several years, and Ametek acquired us in 2017, and has really brought a lot of positive strength to the company. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. So we're headquartered in Mount Prospect, Illinois. It's about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Chicago. And we're a leader in integrated communications technology, designing and manufacturing nurse call systems for the medical industry and also the educational market. So we've got two verticals. We've got the healthcare side, which is the nurse call systems for hospitals and clinics. And then we've got the education piece, which is the grade schools and high schools. And if you can imagine, as I go through this, all have had exposure to a hospital environment or a school environment. If you can imagine all the hardware, and I'll get into some of the products in a little bit, but if you walk into a patient room and you see, for example, the pillow speaker on the bed, the controller that actually manages, a number of facets of the patient's room, the pull cord in the shower. In case there's an emergency, somebody's in the shower and they fall, they pull the pull cord, and that notifies somebody outside, a nurse, et cetera, that there's been a problem. So we're making the hardware not only for inside the patient room, but outside the patient room. You're familiar with what they call corridor lights outside the room that light up for different reasons. And so we're making that. We're making the functionality and the apparatus that actually goes on the nursing station for connectivity. And then we'll get into this a little bit. We're also manufacturing the software that drives the connectivity throughout the system. So the system is including all the patient rooms, the nursing station, connectivity to doctors, cell phones, nurses' cell phones, et cetera. And again, all the software is driving that connectivity. Same thing in a school environment. A little bit different in terms of the features, but the approach, the essence of the connectivity is the same. We're currently listed as a Class 1 medical device manufacturing company. The brand name for our healthcare products is Responder, and they're subject currently to general controls and viewed as low risk. Now, we do have an interest in looking at, when we're looking at target companies, very likely could be a Class 2 company. And we are, as Mike knows, we're looking to, even though we're viewed as Class 1 by the Food and Drug Administration, we are looking to elevate our performance in terms of compliance with the QSR to a Class 2 and help us prepare for the future. We have distributors in 3 different parts that we own, based in California, Florida, Ohio, and Michigan, actually 4. And these what we call evaluated resellers, or VARs, VARS, actually report into Rauland. We own these resellers, and what they do for us is they actually install the products at the sites for our customers, and they provide services as well. We're also supported by another 90 distributors throughout the country and throughout the world that don't report into Rauland but do business with us. So we've got a wide distribution network. We've expanded our capability. We acquired a company called SoundCom back in May of 2018. So our facility is about 240,000 square feet. We've got about 250 people in the facility. 100 are comprised of manufacturing, union and non-union. You can see the different functions that currently are here. This is the headquarters for Rauland. And when I joined about 15 months ago, we had a quality policy that didn't really reflect what we felt about the company. And our president, Michelle Allen, had started about a year earlier. And, I came on board 15 months ago. And my recommendation was that we take a close look at the quality policy and make sure that it really reflected how we felt about quality and where we were moving in the future. And frankly, we completely revamped the quality policy. So what you see in front of you is the current quality policy that we're very proud of. And in the interest of deploying the policy and making it simple for everybody in the company, we came up with 4 key quality policy tenets. And you can see them there. So if anybody's asked, what does a quality policy mean to you? We all know that it's very difficult to recite a quality policy verbatim. And we thought it was important to really focus in on what are the key facets of the quality policy in simple terms. And we came up with customer satisfaction, regulatory compliance, continuous improvement, and team engagement. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay. So wanted to present some pictures, give you a flavor for the inside of our facility. And as you can see, moving from the left top corner around, you can see some of the different equipment and machinery. We have SMT lines, ATE lines, we have final assembly, we have capability for injection molding. And as you can see, as you circle around, you can see different facets of the operation. In the center there, you can see several of our patents. If you were to walk in a certain hallway here, we've got all our patents shown up on the wall there. So I talked a little bit earlier about one of our key verticals, and this is the primary and predominant part of our business. When we look at the percent sales, healthcare clearly is the core of our business. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, the responder solutions allow for fast, direct communication throughout the floor and throughout the hospital. Patient care is critical. It integrates nurse call functionality with the latest wireless technologies. There is a real shift going on over the last year or two to really connect virtually with people that are outside the hospital, et cetera. So nurses, doctors have access very quickly if there's a problem with their patients in the hospital. And obviously communications is key, getting a hold of the right person, et cetera. So our product has that feature of really identifying who you're trying to get hold of and get hold of that person. And we're installed in hospitals that account for over 1 million care beds, 4,000 hospitals, 40 countries around the world. So it's very likely that you and or your loved ones or friends have been in hospitals that are supported by our products. So in a typical hospital environment, and in moving from top left around in a clockwise fashion, you can see up at the left there, Mike's had a chance to see this. You can see a portion of our training center. So the intent is to simulate a hospital environment, nursing station. It allows for customers, nurses, et cetera, our own personnel to be trained, but it simulates an actual nursing environment. So if you were to enter different parts of that top left portion of the picture, you would actually have, for example, a shower that simulates a pool court situation. You'd have hospital beds in different portions of the training center. And then you've got our products installed on the walls in different parts of the training center, so we can actually take customers through functionality, features, actual application. So as you circle clockwise, you can see some of our products, and you can see lower down in the right hand corner, You can see actual hospital administration using it. Again, the pillow speaker I talked about, you see some of the different functions, et cetera. So I mentioned that the second vertical for Rauland is education. And obviously it's extremely important, especially in this day and age of having some, tragic situations happening throughout the United States and other countries. And so we take it very seriously, like we do on the healthcare side, and it's really about safety, emergencies, connectivity throughout the grade school or the high school. It's got a number of features allowing for scheduling and events, everyday communications, public address systems, and we were the first ever commercial application of touchstone technology back in 1968. So obviously there's been a lot of upgrades since then. But if you were to walk into most grade schools and high schools now, you'll see Rauland products. Again, it's that broad-based connectivity throughout the facility. And the brand name for that product is called Telecenter U. Now, here are some examples of applications in the educational institution. And moving from top left clockwise, you can see some of the products. Safety is paramount, right? Schools want to ensure that the children are safe, and we do everything possible to help them do that. So as you go clockwise, you can see some of the examples of application in the school system. And again, connectivity is critical, especially if you're in a very serious situation. So we're the market leader in both verticals. And as I mentioned, split between healthcare and education. We've got, our products are used in over 625,000 hospital beds and rooms around the world. 65% of school districts have our products. We offer a long-time warranty, and we offer 24-hour technical assistance and turnaround in terms of service. So when companies are looking for a nurse call communication system or a system that can support their educational facility, Rauland is known as a leader in the world. So let's talk a little bit about Rauland's journey when it comes to IEC 62304 compliance. And I wanted to start by commenting on some of the things we've got in place here, and we're always looking to improve. But certainly we've got some software testing tools. And some of you may be familiar with these, but these are tools designed to really challenge the efficacy of the software. I don't claim to be an expert in these. Our design engineering team does a great job in challenging our software day in and day out using these tools: static code analysis, dynamic code analysis, open source, third-party penetration testing, all designed to challenge the software and make sure that it's operating properly. One of the first things we did that I did when I joined was actually do a gap analysis of several areas, including our new product development area along design engineering, et cetera. And one of the clear-cut gaps was the design engineering team didn't have a firm understanding of ISO 14971 and really no understanding or very little of IEC 62304. And my apologies there, I didn't, the number's incorrect there. But so that's when I reached out and contacted Omnex, and Mike came out, did a great job in spending time with a number of cross-functional representatives, a heavy-duty course with our design engineering team, and really reinforce some of the key aspects of 14971. You're all familiar with the risk management standard. And then 62304, which we really didn't have a good understanding of. including myself. So we are moving up a curve right now. I'll talk about that in a minute. We're moving up a learning curve, through many different areas of the business, including quality and design engineering, et cetera, to truly understand and integrate the requirements of not only 14971, but more importantly, 62304. We had built in some of the 14971 requirements, but very little when it came to IEC 62304, almost non-existent. So the training really provided us with an opportunity to better understand the requirements and integrate those into our procedure. So you can see their procedure updates. So the first step was really providing the knowledge foundation, if you will, to build from. And once we did that, then we applied our knowledge to the procedures. We updated procedures appropriately. We're still not finished, right? We understand IEC 62304 to a point, but we understand we haven't built all the requirements into our procedures yet. So that's a project in progress, and that'll be one of our key projects for 2024. One of the first things we did, and I think we're all aware of that, the priority is focus on software safety classification. If you look in the standard 62304, it really leans on 14971 quite a bit, and it makes sense, right? It's a great 1-2 punch, makes sense. And 62304 is really, one of the first pages of 62304 highlights the software safety classes. And Class A being no injury or damage to health as possible, Class B being non-serious injury as possible, and Class C being death or serious injury as possible. So one of the first priorities we felt was important was really to challenge ourselves and say, where do we think our responder product falls? And we pulled together, as you move down a little bit on the slide there, you can see we felt that the responder system fell into two camps. Number one was a hardware-related software and non-hardware related software. And the next step was really pull together a cross-functional team to help us determine where we fell in terms of classes against the IEC 62304 requirements. So the cross-functional team was comprised of members of design engineering, quality, and our clinical team. And this is, my attempt here is to demonstrate a little bit, as we move down into the diagrams down below, demonstrate how we landed when it came to the classes. And there were, again, key references used were our hazard analysis risk management file, our FEMA documents, and where we landed was, and we actually wrote a white paper that is in our file for future reference. It really summarizes the logic behind how we landed on the classes. So non-hardware related software Class A and hardware related software Class B. And the pictures at the bottom there show where they landed, some examples of the pictures, et cetera, or some examples of the products, I should say. So for Class B, I just want to comment here real quick on Class B. The IEC the UL 1069 listing, for those that aren't familiar with it, it's the standard for hospital signaling and nurse call equipment. Our products are compliant with that standard. And so we know that's a key requirement for our products, obviously. That product landed in Class B. And if you move to the right, and it's an optional product, if a customer prefers to have certain features, they would get non-hardware related software as well. Less risk, right? It's the driving force, less risk, therefore viewed as a safety Class A. So if you can imagine coming into a company like I did 15 months ago and understanding what key standards and what key requirements we need to be compliant with, it was surprising that members of our design engineering team did not have as much strength as I would have anticipated in ISO 14971 risk management. And then secondly, IEC 62304. As I said, we've made a lot of progress in building that understanding and that knowledge foundation, which is critical. And like I said, Mike did a nice job in really making it simple, understandable, and something that we could apply to our business. So as I said, the first step was really, where do our products fall when it comes to classification? And you can see there where they landed. So next steps, not only with IEC 62304, but Rauland's journey and really improving and taking it to a whole new level. First of all, we're going to strengthen our technical understanding. And what I'm thinking about right now is having some additional refresher training in a number of different fronts, not only IEC 62304, but also 14971, 1345, the global quality standard for quality systems for medical devices, et cetera. So this is about moving up the learning curve throughout the business, so we have a better understanding and we can, very appropriately apply those requirements into our procedures day in and day out. We are continuing to upgrade our design engineering procedures, as I said, as we're learning more about the standards and the requirements. And I mentioned a little bit earlier about our software testing capabilities. So this is, and if you're interested, I included the websites that you can go to learn more about these. Now, this list is not all inclusive. There's a number of things that we're also looking at and we've got in place to challenge the software throughout the life cycle of our products. But these are some of the key tools we use on the front end to really test out our software. And you're welcome to visit the websites as well. As Mike knows, the first step is making sure that we're compliant with quality system regulation, which we are, but we've got an audit plan for actually in January, where we want to learn from an audit from an outside company to really reaffirm in our own minds that we're compliant. I feel good about where we're at, but we want that confirmation. As everybody's aware, the QSR is mandatory. It's a law per the FDA. And we want to make sure we're rock solid when it comes to complying with those requirements. The next step is taking it to a whole new level and pursuing ISO 1345-2016 certification, which is one of our strategic goals for 2024. So as everybody knows, the FDA is looking at harmonizing the QSR and 1345 in the near future. So it makes real sense for us to have a rock solid foundation to build from in terms of QSR and making it a very small leap to be successful with ISO 1345 certification. And we're predicting probably in Q3 2024 sometime. It was a pleasure, and thank you for having me today. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, Pete, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks everyone.
Pete.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.